So as you probably know, Aberration has been out in Ark Survival Ascended for quite some time now, and I feel like people are slowly starting to get the hang of all the new items and creatures added. Of course we have the cute little spider which the Cosmo is, we have the Yeeling which is basically like a weaker Rock Drake, and finally the ability to breed Karkanos and Basilisks. But a feature that has stood out to me is the Steam Forge. As for like a bunch of years now, even in Ark Survival Evolved, we haven't really had an upgrade to like smelting things. We've had the Refining Forge, we've had the Industrial Forge, and Magma Swords, but there's really been nothing past that, and this is actually a really strong upgrade. But the only problem is that this is pay to win because of Bobstall Tales, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But in my opinion, it is actually worth it to get Bobstall Tales, as it's basically like a whole new massive DLC. It's almost as good as buying the map. In this video, I'm going to talk about everything that you need to know about the new Steam Forge and whether it is actually a worthy upgrade to the Industrial Forge, which in my opinion it is, but I don't know, what do you guys think? So, to start off, I wanted to say that obviously the Steam Forge is quite a lot bigger, probably actually one of the biggest buildings other than the cloner that you get from the Tech Replicator. It's quite large, like genuinely, that is 3 foundations by 5 foundations long and roughly 2.5 walls high. So that is very big. You need a massive space in your base to have it. That's why I think it would be better to keep outside. But then obviously you run the risk of either getting raided if you're playing PvP, or if you're playing PvE to get attacked by other dinos, which is not a great thing. But if you have a big enough base, then it should be fine. It should be able to fit fine. It's not humongous, but it is very, very big. It's not as big as the Tech Cloner, which is like, I think, 7 walls high. So yeah, at least it's not that big, but it is very big. But at least it does pack for what it's going to do. And the difference between the Industrial Forges, as you can see, that is like 3 foundations by like 3 foundations. And of course it's taller, which I think actually I'd prefer it to be longer than taller, sideways, so you can fit it better in your base without having to build like a massive ugly looking base. But yeah, that should be fine size-wise. But now let's get into what it actually does. So there is like a whole nice compartment up here that you can go, which is really, really cool. I don't think a lot of buildings have this in Ark. And to turn that on, you are going to need element, and yeah, you can already see it has 300 stacks. So the max amount of metal that you can hold is 89,700 actual metal, raw metal in it, with 100 element, and you have to use element. You can't use gasoline or anything. And turning it on, as you can see, my heat does end up increasing substantially. So that is one problem, and it's already done cooking some metal. 40 metal every roughly 7 seconds. So if we wait maybe another 3 seconds, yeah, not even 3. If we wait another 7, like probably 5 seconds now, we'll get another 40 metal. So this does cook metal very, very fast. And one thing that I have realized, as you can see, it's about to use I have 60 metal left, and it's cooked 160. So there's something going weird here, isn't there? Because it's used one single stack of metal, and it's giving me 200 metal. So it does give metal in the ratio 3:2 rather than the ratio 2:1 like it does in the Industrial Forge. So this is probably the best thing. So you basically get 1 extra metal ingot per metal that you smelt, which is so incredibly useful. It's better value in general. It cooks metal incredibly fast. I think I've been talking for like maybe a minute and it's already cooked a whole 300 metal. This is incredibly good. Obviously it does heat up quite a lot. That's why I did place some air conditioners here, which I'm not going to show you. If I turn on the Tech Replicator, turn it on and run straight back, the air conditioners are now working. Obviously you probably won't need as much because I have added quite a lot, but this is just to show that you can call it off. You can place air conditioners inside there. That is a little bit disproportionate. Don't judge me, please. I couldn't get it to fit properly, but yeah, as you can see, there's quite a lot of air conditioners here, and it is cooling me down properly. And by that time that it took me to get there, it's already cooked basically another stack of metal. So this is incredibly potent. Now, the problem is, it does require element. You can't have a Tech Replicator powering it. Of course, a Tech Replicator does, not Replicator, I meant Generator. Of course, a Generator does use element. And even though it is being powered by a Tech Generator, you still need element. If I was to take element out from the Steam Forge into my inventory, no fuel. Yeah, so you do need element to power it. That's the only problem. So it is going to be quite pricey to use, especially since on Aberration it's not very easy to get element, as Rockwell doesn't give too much, and it's a pretty hard fight. Look at this. There's so much air conditioners there. I'm all the way over here. I'm like 3 foundations away from it, and I'm still overheating. Like, this is, yeah. So I think roughly like 5 foundations is how far the heat goes. Maybe 4. 5 or 4 foundations is how far the heat goes. But now it's time to compare it to the Industrial Forge, which you can be powered with either gasoline or fuel. Right now, there is both gasoline in here, and the tech replicator is on. So if I do turn the generator, I have to replicate it one more time. So as you can see, it is still working. It's still cooking metal. It's just used some gasoline now, and that has fuel for 2 days per 100 gasoline. Whereas compared to this, for every 100 element, this has fuel for 4 days and 4 hours, which is a pretty good trade-off. Element is way more expensive to get than gasoline, so that's going to be the only struggle. And this cooks roughly 1 metal per second at the ratio of 2 to 1. So you get the normal amount of metal that you get inside the refining forge or inside the magma saw. Of course, it does cook it faster. And one thing that I am going to check out now is how it smelts wood real quick. Alright, so now we've gotten some wood in here. This is not a lot, but we'll see how quick it smells. So obviously, you probably know Industrial Forge, everyone's used to it. Everyone's used it for a long time. 1 charcoal per second, which is, I think it's actually a little bit under a second. It's probably like 0.9 seconds or something like that. But it does smelt it very fast already. You probably won't need it smelting much faster. But let's see how it does charcoal here. Yeah, look at that. That's like 2 to 3 times quicker. Oh my god. That's actually insane. So on my stopwatch, it took roughly 33.9 seconds to cook 100 charcoal, which is pretty fast. It was a little bit bugged. I don't know why it didn't smelt metal until the first stack was done. I don't know whether that's a bug or whether they're going to patch or something. That was a little bit strange. But yeah, 100 charcoal every 33.9 seconds. So that is maybe 34 seconds. Maybe I was a little bit off timing. But from that time, look, this is only cooked 100. 110, even though I turned that on a little bit earlier as well. And comparing that to this already, over here, it's got triple the amount basically. So yeah, it works almost 3 times as fast. So it is 100% going to be worth the upgrade. Okay, now continuing, whether it's actually going to be worth the upgrade, we have to take into consideration the price of both of the Steam and Industrial Forge. Because as you can see, this thing is very, very pricey, being probably on par with the grinder. Let's check how much the grinder needs. The grinder needs, yeah, literally being on par in some cases with the metal and I think polymer. But the Steam Forge requires 600 cementing paste, 1000 polymer, 200 electronics, 500 crystal, and 3250 metal ingots. Probably the easiest thing to get here is going to be the cementing paste, crystal, and the metal itself. The polymer, I guess you can get from Karkanos. And electronics, since you probably won't need to use hard polymer, you'd probably be okay using soft polymer or organic polymer or whatever you want to call it, because you have a tech replicator at that point. Because you literally need element to power it, so there's no point of having it unless you have element. But this is quite a hefty purchase. 600 cementing paste, not really too much of a struggle with all the chitin that you can get. The electronics might be a little bit of a struggle on Aberration, trying to get all the silica pearls. Hardest part will probably be, yeah, the cementing paste electronics. But the metal should be easy, as you can just farm all of the blue rocks found throughout the blue zone, because they give a shed load of metal each. And the crystal you can basically find anywhere. But now looking at the Industrial Forge, if I scroll down and find it, requires same amount of cementing paste, less than half the polymer, half the crystal, a little bit less oil, and it's actually not even that substantial of a difference, if I'm being honest. The main difference is probably the polymer. The crystal, doubling it is not really hard to get. Oil, not really too hard to get either. Probably on Aberration might be a little bit hard though, because you have to go down to the red zone to farm a decent amount of oil. The metal is not going to be hard, especially if you do have the Industrial Forge already and you want an upgrade. And the polymer is probably going to be the hardest part, like I said again. So yeah, if you are looking for an upgrade, I would genuinely consider taking the Steam Forge, because it is a massive upgrade. So these have been like on for the past maybe 3 minutes. This is how much it's cooked. 1, 2, 3, 4 stacks of metal, plus the, for some reason, bug that I wasn't cooking at the beginning. Comparing it to the Industrial Forge, that's not even cooked a full stack yet. So just take that into consideration. That has cooked almost 4 stacks while being bugged, and this has not even cooked a single stack yet. So in my honest opinion, I do think that it is a very, very substantial increase that would definitely be worth it. Only problem is the materials, as it is quite pricey. And of course, it also looks cool. It looks really nice. Like, well, while it's on, all the molten stuff, the way you can see element, like, probably fueling that, it's really nicely done. Very, very good. You can also see metal coming out from here. I don't know whether the metal, nah, it definitely cooks metal way faster than it's coming out, but that is a really, really nice touch. It does suit the whole steampunky vibe. Obviously, you can't put it on the Zeppelin or rafts or anything like that. It won't fit. But in my opinion, this is actually a really, really good increase. So yeah, all throughout, I feel like this is going to be a very, very worthy upgrade. Obviously, sadly, it is Bob's Tall Tales, so it is quite pay to win, I would recommend getting Bulbasaur Tales though. I'm probably going to do a further video showing everything in Bulbasaur Tales later. But for now, I just want to take this into consideration because this is a very, very exciting upgrade that we've been probably waiting for actually quite some time now, because people have either been using the Industrial Force or the Magmasaur, which isn't in Ascended yet. So yeah, this is really, really big news. 100% get Bulbasaur Tales if you do want the upgrade. It isn't too much money, and it basically is like a whole ass new DLC by itself. So it is basically as good as getting a new map, because you get new content, a new dinosaur for the first 3 new maps. So yeah, this is very exciting news. If you did find yourself enjoying the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really, really will help my channel out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.